Good evening, and welcome to Health Plus Weekly. I am Dr. John Podkowa. I'm joined by our co-host, nurse practitioner, Hannah Raymond, and we are excited to welcome to the studio tonight Jill Fearons and Kara Levoshko, a child life specialist at St. Luke's Hospital and Southcoast Health. We hope everyone had a wonderful Labor Day weekend and you wrapped up summer in style. It's hard to believe that fall is here, even though it doesn't really feel like it yet. We are going to be talking about pediatrics tonight, and more importantly, the pediatric resources that we are incredibly lucky to have right in our local community. And to talk a bit more about them and how we got those services, Jill, your great work over the past several years in collaboration with Southcoast and Boston Children's Hospital of expanding those resources for the local children and everything that we have, and to raise awareness about what great care we can receive in our own communities versus having to travel for it. And then Kara, also in terms of the role you play in the health system in terms of helping parents and children navigate, when they're admitted. As always, we'd like to hear from people and where they're tuning in and watching from. I think our furthest reach so far was Texarkana, or maybe was our California, Arizona, did we get? I think or Arizona. So for the people watching, yeah, we'd love to hear where you're watching from and checking in. It's always nice to hear some familiar faces and some who's watching. We encourage you, if you have any questions regarding the content that we're talking about in terms of services for pediatrics at St. Luke's or Southcoast Health and the Boston Children's Program, please feel free to write them in and we will do our best to answer them. Tonight's content is really more about services, not necessarily medical questions. So if you have kind of pediatric medical questions, we'll have to save those for a different time because we will have a follow-up local pediatrician on the show to answer them. And if you have general medical questions, of course, Hannah and I are happy to answer them. We'll reserve that time at the end of the show to kind of circle back and answer those if that's okay with you. And without that, let's get started. Welcome, guys. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks for having us.
Did you guys have a great Labor Day weekend?
We did. It was very brief.
Yeah. So our kids go to the same school. So
We do.
most of them, and so you have college now, right? A freshman in college?
One in college, a senior in high school, and then 4 that are at Friends Academy now.
And you're home by yourself right now during the day?
Home alone. It's been a long time.
Yeah. Kara, any kids in school at your household? Are you?
I have 2 daughters, both in college.
Okay.
One's a senior in college and one is a sophomore in college.
Oh, good. And are they back already?
Yep, they're both back.
Oh, yeah.
So you've been used to being home alone for a
Yes.
while.
Awfully quiet.
That's good.
Yeah.
Weird.
So tell us how you ended up kind of in the South Coast area. Like, did you grow up here, Jill, or like how did you land
didn't. I
here?
grew up in Falmouth,
In Falmouth,
so not
okay.
far from here. I love the water, and we ended up moving to Marion when our oldest son Patrick was born, and we spent about 10 years there, and then moved to Mattapoisett.
Great. You've been there since.
And we've been there since. So
and
a long
certainly
time.
invested in the community
Absolutely.
since that time.
And we're really lucky.
Yeah. What about you, Kara?
My whole family's from the area, New
Okay.
Bedford. My dad and my mom married, born here, grew up, everything here. And then my dad was in the military, moved away, and when he retired, we came back here.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Great.
So-
Came home.
So, yep,
So
came home.
you've been here a while too. Good.
Yeah.
Good.
How long have you been at Southcoast?
5 years.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So maybe we can talk, I don't know, Jill, a little bit about some of the work that, just kind of how you got involved in Southcoast and some of the things that you and your husband kind of do on a personal level to help Southcoast in the pediatric program.
Yeah, absolutely. So we became affiliated with Boston Children. I believe this is going on our 6th year. So when they originally came, we wanted to introduce the community, so we did like a small gathering with some of the physicians and introduced that way. A few years later, one of our children, Jack, fell very ill and ended up at St. Luke's ER. And he was cared for remarkably there, was sent up to Children's, and we found out his condition was a little more serious than we had thought. Jack had surgery at Boston Children's, all went well, came home about 5 days later, and then about 18 months later, Jack fell sick again and was again brought into St. Luke's, where he received excellent care, was sent back up to Children's, and Jack's surgery didn't go as well as the first one. And he ended up spending some time on life support, and we spent a great deal of time in the ICU and months at Children's.
So you had a crash course in kind of intense pediatric
I had a little bit of
hospitalization,
crash course, and some of the things that we saw I was a little blown away by. And as sad and scary as my story was, I was extremely lucky and brought my little boy home. And Jack is doing well. He does have hydrocephalus now, which requires a shunt. So there's always that care. But I knew when we left the hospital how fortunate I was to bring Jack home, and I knew that I needed to come back and get the same type of care for our children in our local community as I was so fortunate to receive up at Children's. So we were there months, and I never left Jack's side, and I never for a minute didn't realize how fortunate I was that I was able to do that, when I know a lot of families couldn't.
To stay there with him, yeah.
I stayed, I never left.
Yeah.
And I had 5 other children at home and was able to get them cared for. And so when I came back, I wasn't really sure what to do. So we started this, they call it the Fearons celebration, but it's really a pediatric fundraiser for Southcoast. All the hospitals, the 3. It primarily does go to St. Luke's because that's where we admit. But it's, in the first year we did it, we had about a little over 200 people, and we raised about $93,000.
What was the first year?
The first year was 2016.
Okay.
And it was great. It's held at the Bay Club, and I have to be honest, I was a little blown away. Like, I wasn't sure
How it would go the
how
first
it would
time.
go the first time. So then I thought, I'll try it again. And so we did the second one, and we had a little over 400 people and raised a little over $150,000.
Wow.
And 100% of those proceeds go directly back into Southcoast Health in collaboration with Boston Children's.
And specifically the pediatric
All
program
pediatric.
there.
It all goes
Great.
right to the pediatric department.
Great.
And it enables people to get the care that they need and be able to stay local.
Right.
You know, because going to Boston, I call it $100 a day between parking and lunch and your balloon, and it's
time.
Tough. It's tough.
And if you don't, and, you know, when you drive to Boston and you feel well, it's a long
It's
drive.
fine, right.
But when someone's not feeling well,
Right.
and there's, you know what I mean, it's a long ride.
It's
you
a
know?
long ride, and I feel as a parent, no matter how critically ill your child is, whether it be a cold or hydrocephalus, you tend to panic when your child's sick. And knowing that you have the Boston Children's physicians as well as the Southcoast Health physicians fighting for you, it makes a world of difference. It
So
really does.
explain that a little bit. So it's at St. Luke's Hospital in the emergency room.
Yes.
The Boston Children's physicians.
Correct.
Okay.
Currently, so when you go into Southcoast Health, into St. Luke's in particular, you do go into your pediatric waiting room. Our hours currently are open 11 a.m. Till about 11 p.m. If there's patients in there, they do keep it open. They don't shift you over. And you will be seen in those hours by a Boston Children's physician. Whether if there's an emergency or something, the Southcoast physicians are always on staff as well, and they're as phenomenal. But you are 1 foot away from a Boston Children's physician. And your wait time is extremely less than it would be going into the normal, you know, ED. We try and, you know, get them in and out as they're little. But it's pretty phenomenal what we're offered.
So Kara, can you speak a little bit, as a child life specialist, can you describe just even like a little bit about your role in the hospital and how that emergency room, that waiting room is geared towards children, and what makes it so special for kids and such a better experience just for kids?
Sure. So do you want me to talk about my
Chat,
job?
what are you?
What is my job? So pretty much what my job is to do is I bring everything down to a child's level of understanding.
Okay.
I try to make
Could
them...
you do that right now for me?
I could. And then pretty much what happens is I try to make the environment more kid-friendly. I try to teach the staff how to talk to children in appropriate ways.
Okay.
I work with the parents and try to ease them and help them advocate for their child. And so whenever they come into the hospital, obviously we know it's a very stressful time. And as a parent, you want to try to get as much done, but it's hard, you know, sometimes parents don't want to say what they're feeling and so forth. So I kind of go in and I introduce myself. Development is a big part of my job as well, so play is a big part of my job. So I bring toys in for the kids.
Depending on the kid's age.
Yep,
Okay.
depending on the kid's age, just to try to make that environment space a little bit more kid-friendly. And then just talk with the parents, see how they're doing with everything. And then once the doctors go in, I kind of reassess how the situation's going.
Okay.
Depending on the age of the child, I'll go in, say they need to have stitches, see what they understand about that, what they heard the doctor say. If I get this, like, then I know that, maybe not go into too much detail with that child,
Right,
but,
right.
So you really have to work with the parents as to how that child is. So with emergency department, the waiting room, we have some nice artwork. It's a separate space, so they don't have to be seeing everything that's going on in the main part of the waiting room.
Right.
And then whenever they come into the pediatric part of the emergency department, that is also separate from the main
So it's
side.
just pediatric
Yes.
patients in
So
that
we have,
location, in that part of the ER?
6 beds that are
Okay.
specifically geared for our pediatric patients. If those are full during the time that we're open, sometimes you might go into a different area, but our doctors are always available.
Always available.
So,
So we were talking a little bit before we came on about, so St. Luke's being kind of the hub
Right.
of the pediatric care. So what about, if someone were to take their child to Toby or to Charlton?
yeah. So if they go to Toby or Charlton, there's, the doctor's there. If there's something that they feel that they need to be admitted for, they will transfer them to
Okay.
St. Luke's, and that's where we have our pediatric unit up on the 3rd floor.
Okay.
So we do have a whole separate unit just for the kids.
Just for the kids. And so you're a really important part of kind of the care team with the doctors and the nurses.
so.
And everybody. Good. Yeah, that's great.
You're absolutely right. I think our child life specialists, I know from experience being with Jack at Children's for so long, our child life specialists are integral part of the care for the kids that they receive. It kind of puts the parents at ease, it puts the kids at ease. They're able to do things maybe that we can't do at that moment because we're trying to understand what the doctor's saying or, process what's happening. And they come in and just seem to make everything better.
Yeah.
I think it's an important role
Right.
for us to have in the community.
So, go ahead.
I think it just kind of, to go back to a point about what you said about how we're so pleasantly surprised about the support from the community. I think this is such a great thing about where we live, and my own personal experience too, just being a physician here, not being from here, and how much it is a community, and how much we stick together and support one another.
Absolutely.
With my wife's, when she had cancer and the fundraiser for her, and just so often the level of support around this, these towns is really remarkable,
It's really amazing.
and to people who've been here their whole lives or kind of transplants, it's really, really special. And the other thing I always think about since I've been at Southcoast and talking about caring for the community and in the health center, and it's that, an organization or a system that cares so much about the community that brings like the highest level quality of care, kind of Boston level care locally. You know what I mean? Like that's how much they care. You know what I mean? Like because getting sick is really inconvenient, but your care shouldn't be.
Right.
And when we know this, when something happens, you want the best, like for your mom, your dad, your children, and you want to go to, to Boston, but with the whole, kind of approach of Southcoast is like, we'll bring, Boston level quality to these communities.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like New Bedford, Fall River, Wareham, some parts of Rhode Island. They've invested in these resources, and and also in collaboration with great partners like Boston Children's. And so it's so nice that we've done that, and I've seen it. Like we really don't compromise care.
No.
By receiving your services locally.
And I, as a mom, feel as confident walking into a Southcoast House location, St. Luke's, as I do walking into Boston Children's now.
Yeah.
Because I know, I may not get to stay there or end up there, but I know that's the first stop that I'm going to go on.
Yeah.
Because they're going to get me to where I need to go.
Yep. And
without hesitation.
Yeah, and then if there's something that if they have to, get admitted, and then they can't manage at St. Luke's, then they're right in touch and can make the transition seamlessly, right?
Absolutely. And they do it flawlessly.
Yeah.
And I've brought my child in after hours, when we're closed, and my goal and hope is to open us up for 24 hours for pediatrics.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel just as confident going in at 1 o'clock in the morning being treated by our Southcoast Health physician as I do going in at 10 a.m. in the morning.
So you've raised, this, you and George and your family, in collaboration with Southcoast and Boston Children's, a significant amount of money over the years. And what's changed, right? And what are you really proud of? And like, where are you going? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what, you know,
Yeah.
like, let's talk about that because.
So I'm really proud of the community. I'm really proud of the way, when Jack was sick, it was unbelievable the way the community rallied around me in general, actually. Southcoast Health was a major part in finding out what was wrong with Jack, and Keith Hovan, Brian Sard, I mean, key players would just pick up the phone and call me. They would come up and visit me, and I don't really know any CEO of a hospital that would do that. To me, that speaks volumes as to who we are. In the way the community rallied around me, whether it was the schools closing down and saying a prayer, you know, during the time to try and get him well, and then afterwards rallying around the events, knowing that it all goes directly back to helping our kids in the community.
And resources in the...
And resources in the, you know, keeping Boston Children's here. I mean, we are so fortunate. We have a Boston Children's location in North Dartmouth that you can see your specialist, you know, here at home. And I believe we almost have every specialist down here now.
Kind of rotating through.
Kind of rotating through. I mean, at any given day, there's 3 specialists in the North Dartmouth location. We are so fortunate to have that. You know, you can see your allergist and your neurologist, and how lucky for us as a community to have that. And I really think we began some of these programs because I needed to know, like, does the community really care about keeping the quality level of care here? So we started doing a few events this year alone. In December, we started a teddy bear drive because, as Kara stated, we do like teddy bear tours, but my goal for any child that is to leave any of our Southcoast locations is that they leave with a teddy bear. It's reassuring, it makes them feel better, it can change the whole outcome of a visit when you leave. So I started a teddy bear drive, and we housed it at the Bay Club in Mattapoisett as well as St. Luke's. And in 3 short weeks, we raised over 1,000 teddy bears. And that's just the community coming together and saying, I want to do this and I can help you do this.
Right. And we should say that people can still donate teddy bears
absolutely.
year round.
I mean, every month we go through about almost 300 teddy bears a month.
So
wow.
one of the
It's
they have to have
crazy.
fixed eyes, right? No googly
Fixed eyes, nothing that chokeable
nothing
parts.
chokeable.
Brand new.
Yeah, brand new.
They
And
have to be new.
Where can people drop them off, or where can they?
They can drop them off at St.
That's-
Luke's.
yeah,
They
right,
can
the
drop them
information
off
desk.
at any pretty much location. They
That's
know
great
they're
to know.
coming, and it just really changes. We've gotten letters from parents that say it really made a difference, you know, having the child leave the ER. The scare wasn't there, and our hope is that the next time they go in, they won't have any anxiety
They'll remember
of
that,
going.
yeah.
They'll remember when they left that they took this bear with them. And then we collaborated with Fun 107 and WBSM in April and started this Food for Tots tour.
Yeah, which we've talked about on the show. So
Yeah.
let's talk a bit more about that because our audience has heard us talk about it. So how did that start and
It's
what?
just a very fun event, and we were trying to come up with a way of getting the community involved once again, and seeing if this is something that they really wanted to do. So we thought, well, why not go to restaurants and just have people go out to eat? Everybody goes out to eat. So we kicked it off in April in Fairhaven, and we chose 5 restaurants, and we went and we talked to the restaurant owners to see if they would be interested in working on this with us. And what it is they donate 15% of their profits all day long on everything. That was a major ask for us. That's a lot for restaurants to do. It's, you know, it's a lot of money.
Yeah.
And they embraced us. They wanted to do it. So we kind of made it fun. We got their staff's shirts, and we have sandwich boards put out front, and we rally around them, and we travel as a team and go to all these 5 restaurants. And there was like a joke with Michael Rock and myself, like, would we make any money the first month? Like, so we bet dinner, and I thought we'd make about $500. We made about $8,000 the first month.
Wow.
And these restaurants opened their hearts to us and our community and our kids, and they embraced it. The community embraced it. So then we hit other towns, and it's been going since April, and Our next one is in Fall River in Tiverton.
Okay.
And
those will be coming out, the restaurants
the
will be
restaurants will
coming
be
out soon.
announced
Okay,
on
all right.
Fun 107
Fun
on Monday the 10th.
Okay. And
We
how
kind
often
of
does it
keep
happen?
It happens once a month.
Okay.
But I do have to say, Corey from On the Go in Mattapoisett, I call him Tuesday for Tots because he has donated 15% of everything every Tuesday.
And their food's amazing.
Their food is amazing. He does catering, and their food is amazing. And Corey alone has made us over like $7,000.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's just amazing to me what people have done. And so the campaign has raised over $50,000. And every dollar of that is going back into
To
pediatrics.
support, whether it's gowns, clothing,
Exactly.
stretchers, training materials
Exactly.
for the
Training.
staff, right?
Yep. Things that they need, perhaps things that Kara needs.
Yeah. What type of things, Carol, make a big difference in
Well, some
a
of the
child's
things that we've
experience?
gotten, like we have Mama-roos, so we have, I don't know if you know what they are.
No, I don't. Actually do not.
It's
This
like
is
a
the
little,
part where we treat me like a child, too. Yeah.
it's like an infant swing. So some of our babies who are they're called neonatal abstinence syndrome, they really like the movement of that, and that really helps them. So that's one thing that we purchased with some of the money. Toys,
Sippy cups.
sippy cups. I'm trying to think. I can't even think right
I
now.
mean,
So
we've
many
purchased
things.
some
Coloring books.
major.
Yeah, pieces of equipment and things as well, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
We've
like
purchased some
simulation,
major,
yeah.
like simulator babies and some major needs that the community
Right.
has. The mama,
Yep.
things that you wouldn't think about that are absolutely a necessity. Like, in the pediatric ward, we have a toy room. And when the kids are well and they go in there, it matters that they have like working toys.
Right.
And those things break, so we have to
And
replace
as adults,
those.
we don't think about that as adults.
We don't really
Yeah.
think about that. Like, it's the things that maybe we don't think to go out and buy, or the needs, like a sippy cup. Like, if you get admitted and you don't have a sippy cup, we can provide that for you. Those are all things, that is
Kind of
needs
comforts
in the
of home
community.
as
Yeah.
well.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And down in the emergency department, we have play packs, so it's like a coloring book, crayon, sticker kind of combo thing. And those go to children of adult patients, any children
So
that
any
come
child
in.
that comes in, not necessarily
we go through
patient.
those like
Wow.
crazy.
Yeah, it's extremely
We have a
important.
treasure
and
chest.
We're just so fortunate. Like, I'm proud to live where we live.
Yeah, me too.
We're this little place on the South Coast, but we like speak volumes for what our community does for each other. And it's, I think we have the right leadership under us, and it's awesome.
How often, so you rotated between Fall River for the Food for Tots, right?
Correct.
So it rotates between what areas?
So recently so our first month was Fall River, then we moved on to Dartmouth, then we hit the Tri-Town, and we hit Fall River, excuse me, and then New Bedford, and then we're slated in September to hit Westport and Tiverton.
Okay.
And then October is Wareham, and then the really fun part is November, they all do it again.
Okay.
So it's a major campaign in November, so we'll have 34 restaurants participate
During the month of
November.
Right.
Wow.
Every restaurant, so it'll be a busy day for me. So
So
every restaurant participates. So they do this twice for us.
Yep.
So it speaks, it's amazing what they do. And the brilliant part is they become a sponsor to our event that's held September 22nd.
Yeah, so let's talk about the event.
Yeah.
That's perhaps the biggest
That is our
fundraising.
biggest fundraiser for South Coast
Pediatrics.
Yeah.
Yeah, so where is it?
So it's held at the Bay Club.
Yep.
And it's Saturday, September 22nd. It begins at 6 p.m. And it's just a really great night of getting everyone together and celebrating what the community has done is really what it is.
Yeah.
Tickets are $150 a person, and you get full open bar, amazing food put out by the Bay Club, really fun activities. There is a silent auction, and it's just a really great way of celebrating.
And it's
the
fun.
community.
It's like a
It's
band,
really
right? There's
fun,
dancing.
yeah.
It's like a great night.
This year it's black tie
tent.
optional.
Yep, which
so
is I'm
it's
so
kind of like
excited.
the prom.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Adult prom. But it
There's
really
a kind of
is-
a red carpet, right?
It's a red
Pictures with your
carpet,
friends
we
and
have
family up front.
pictures.
Yep.
But it really is a way of celebrating the community. For me, it's a way of thanking them.
Yeah.
Thanking everyone for what they've done, because that needs to be said. We would be nothing without them.
And is there a
Without
website
you.
that people go to find out more information about
There
it?
is. You can go to the Southcoast Health website.
Okay.
I think it's /pediatrics.
Okay.
I can absolutely get you that
Good.
correct website.
Yeah.
But
And so tickets are still available if
oh
people
yeah,
want to
tickets
come?
are still available. I think we've sold about 400
Wow.
so far.
Last year there was the diamond auction.
We do have that.
Is that
Hanush-
happening again?
Yes, Hanush Jewelers of Dartmouth are amazing, and last year they gave us one diamond to auction off, and this
Not
year,
just a diamond, right? Like, let's
Yeah.
talk about what the diamond was.
It was a 2-carat diamond.
Yep.
And all you had to do was buy a $50 champagne glass, and it was kind of fun because on the bottom of the champagne glasses I put stickers like Minnie Mouse, Mickey Mouse. So you bought your champagne glass, and you'd have to see if the bottom of your glass I announced if you have a Mickey Mouse.
Yes.
You would come up, and we physically weighed your diamond. We
Yeah,
had
so
no
there was
idea.
lots of cubic zirconias, right? Like, is that what it
Everybody
was?
would get a beautiful cubic zirconia in their glass
Yes.
of champagne. And if you had a Minnie Mouse or a Mickey Mouse, I believe it was, you came to the front and we physically weighed
Yeah.
each diamond. So no one knew. I didn't know. It was very fun. And, you know, we had one winner. And then this year, Hanush is doing 2 diamonds for us.
Wow.
So as long as I sell all 350 glasses, we'll pull the second diamond.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So I have the link, it's southcoast.org backsplash,
I know, that's what I said.
/Fearons celebration, and we can put that up as a link.
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the more the merrier, and it's just really fun. And again, it's really just thanking everyone and all our restaurants that participated, you know, are coming to the event, which is really, really
Yeah.
fun because I need them to see, like, this is what it's all about at the end of the day, what they did.
Mm-hmm.
We'll announce, like, where a lot of the money has gone.
Mm-hmm.
You'll get to hear about some up-and-coming things in pediatrics. That's exciting.
Yes. Yep. Dr. Sard usually speaks in terms of,
Dr.
right?
Sard, Keith Hoban will speak.
Yep. You and your husband do a great job kind of
Yes.
motivating
Speaking
people.
of, we have a nice comment, a shout out. I don't know if you know this gentleman, George Fearons says, "Nice job, Jill, you rock."
He's actually at New England Baptist. He had his knee replaced yesterday.
Oh, no.
So he's struggling.
So, and a lot of nice other comments too. One from Pat, just saying that your story is amazing, and your commitment to the pediatric services at Southcoast is great too. And then just Sarah Madeira saying, "Awesome stuff, Jill. Keep up the amazing work." So I definitely appreciate.
Well, God,
that.
I'm so lucky
Yeah.
because it's really not about me. It's about Kara and you all and the wonderful community about what they do to support me.
Yeah.
I'm so lucky to have, like, you know, all these people behind me.
Hey, Kara, for children who are sick and parents who are caring for children or family members are caring for children who are sick, you know, what are some things to help it make it easier? You know what I mean? So you work with the hospital in terms of the emergency department, but maybe is there any advice in terms of at home or then transitioning in and out of, you know, the hospital in terms of making that more kind of child friendly in your experience? Do you help parents with that too?
Yeah, if they, depends on what's happening,
Yeah,
obviously.
of course.
But a lot of times I really try to help them advocate for their child. A lot of times I'm there to just be that person to talk to, and then I'm that person who will kind of go talk to everybody else. I'm considered like a safe person because, you know, I'm not doing anything invasive to anybody
Yep.
usually. So that's really good. And just, you know, be honest. Sometimes, you know, parents don't want to tell their children that they're going to the hospital because it can be a scary thing, but be honest as much as possible. A lot of times, whenever we do have to do the procedures, like I said before, is I just kind of find out exactly how they do with things. And sometimes it's the parents' own fears that they're projecting onto their child. So a lot of times I try to assess that situation, and
Yep.
you know, the parents are like, "Don't let them look." But the child wants to look as to what's happening, so I try to encourage the parent that sometimes children like to know what's happening and seeing what's happening because that's the way that they cope with the situation.
It sounds like it's more, as just as much for the parents
It
as it is
is,
for the
yes,
kids too.
yeah.
Sometimes more.
More, yeah.
Sometimes more, definitely.
You had touched on the teddy bear tour, which I think is something that's really neat as something that the kind of the funds have made possible. Could you talk a little bit about the teddy bear tour?
Well, what the teddy bear tour is, so anytime, so if the doctor's offices have the list of what dates we have. And then what happens is they give them some information about the tour. And then what they do is they call me. I set up the schedule for which date they'll come in, and then they actually come in the day of the tour, and we have this big teddy bear set up that has like an oxygen mask on and some of the stuff that the children will actually see the day of surgery. And then we actually go through with them and let them feel some of the equipment, get them familiar with it.
So it's more for kids who have kind of a planned elective
Yes,
surgery coming
yeah,
up.
so it's not just to come in and
Right.
do it, you have to have some surgery scheduled.
You can't just come in and tour them.
Right.
I have done that in the past. Right.
For those
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just to kind of alleviate some of the stress that children have
About
prior to,
the unknown
right,
part,
about
right,
coming to
okay.
the hospital and having
Great.
surgery. So we kind of be upfront with them, and we actually get them into their hospital gowns, and then the parents, we have them put their bunny suits on, which is, you know, this white
The
outfit
white, yeah.
with a cap, and then the kids think that's the funniest thing. And then we actually do like a little train down to the OR itself, so the children actually get to see that space as well.
Great. So
So
when
we
they come
answer
in, they're
questions.
prepared.
Yep.
Mask.
The
Yeah,
mask
practice with the
can be
mask.
scary for kids,
Yep.
so you tend to, you know.
That's great.
and
That's
we have these great hospital gowns that the kids get to wear that are princesses or knights, and we try and make it so that every patient that, you know, gets admitted gets like a really fun gown. So it's not a big scary thing for them to put on. It's sort of like a dress up. So it's, you know, oh, Kara has one.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yeah, let's
So
see.
Are you gonna
they're
model
very
So
fun.
happens, I have one.
These are things that we raised money for last year at the event. I think what my goal is to try and do is have a child never be afraid.
Yeah.
Because if you're afraid,
Neat.
it magnifies everything, and if we
Oh,
can
I
keep
love
the
that.
kids from being afraid.
Oh, how cute.
So this is one, and then the back is
Oh, it's a
very
tourist.
cute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is
Has
the
a
tour.
koala
Let's
bear.
put our princesses.
And we have
yes.
princesses and knights
Cowboys
and
Oh, great.
so we try, and we have them for all ages, you know, from the little guys all the way up, because the hospital's scary. And it's scary for the parents as well. And
Yeah.
if we can somehow make that maybe a little less,
Well,
it
it's a
matters.
fundamentally important thing that you're trying to accomplish, because if you have a good experience when you're young, in terms of, you're more likely to come back and access
Absolutely.
healthcare later on in your
Seek
life. I mean,
Yeah,
I have so many
Makes our
patients
job
who
easier.
didn't go for a really
Yeah.
long
Yeah.
time because they had, you know, just an unpleasant experience, or they were
Absolutely.
scared, or they were treated, you know, coldly. I have people who, you know, I feel so, because I had like such, I mean, it's partly probably why I wound up becoming a physician. I had just nothing but good experiences, you know, at the
Right.
dentist when I was a child, and also with my pediatrician, and it was, going to the doctor was never necessarily a
scary
bad thing,
right.
you know, but when you start talking to other people, or when you go into medicine, you realize that's not always the case, unfortunately.
Right.
And so,
And that's where I come in a lot, because kids walking into the emergency department, the first
Anxiety.
question is, am I getting a shot?
mm-hmm.
And so being able to be there to help them navigate the whole process, being there to help them with coping skills. So how are you going to do some breathing? Are we going to watch, not watch? I kind of go over a whole coping plan with them, so next time they have, okay, last time I did this is how I did it. Okay, I can do this.
yes.
So.
And our nurses and physicians work tirelessly for us as a community. And sometimes when you're in a situation and you're scared, a lot of times you lash out because you're really just afraid.
Yeah.
So if we can be a buffer for that, and I feel like if you go in with a positive attitude, you come out with a positive attitude. So sometimes little things like putting a special gown on them or giving them a teddy bear goes a long way. And in order for us to continue to do that, we need the community to be involved.
And it's really important. And I think, and just also kind of spreading the awareness that we have. And it's part of the reason why we want to have you on tonight. Is just
Yeah.
because not everyone's aware of
Not
that. You know,
everybody's
they
aware.
they panic, they get in the car, they're driving
And they
to
drive
Boston.
right to Boston.
And they don't have to.
Right. And we welcome people that would love, like if you have been fortunate enough not to see our pediatric ER, but you're curious, give us a call. I would love to show you. Because it's remarkable. Our unit is awesome. Like it's a calming, safe place. And 9 times out of 10, if you come in, you're going to get there. You know, if you come in when our hours are open, we're going to get you there. You will end up with that experience. And I can tell you as a mom with a sick child, if you need to be in Boston, they're going to get you there. They don't try and be a hero.
Yeah.
They're going to get you to where you need to go. But your first stop should be with us.
Yeah.
It's it's the safest place as well.
Right.
Which is amazing now too, is in terms of both these great organizations investing in different things in technology, that now we're on this current kind of electronic medical record, we can see each
Right.
other's records, and so it's becoming more and more seamless of an experience in our collaboration and of how we care for
And just
patients.
to know about the Children's Hospital Transport Team too.
Oh,
So-
and I can tell you at our
That's a
event, we're
huge
going to have
one.
the transport
Huge.
team there.
Yeah.
Yes.
So at our event on September 22nd, we're actually going to have the transport team there to
So
meet
basically
you.
what it is the child will wait at St. Luke's in the ER there, and then if they have to be, transferred to Children's Hospital, it's not mom and dad driving them up
No,
there. It's
I've-
Children's Hospital
right.
coming to get the
And
the
they're
child.
very good. They come in.
Yeah.
So we've been med flighted and had to go other transport ways, and they're not scary. They come in their blue jumpsuits. They actually look like astronauts.
Yeah.
And they come in and they reassure and they assess and they make it so it's not as scary for you.
Mm-hmm.
So at the event, I thought it would be important to have the transport team there. So I contacted BCH and they were great and said we'll absolutely bring
Great.
one.
Cool.
So people will have the opportunity to go inside. I call it the mini OR because that's
It
exactly
is.
what it looks like.
Yeah.
And it's remarkable the things they can do in the air and get you to Boston in about 12 minutes.
Wow.
We also have this phenomenal piece of equipment in our pediatric ER at St. Luke's called Rosie. She is a robot, and Rosie gets wheeled into your room. She is used on just critically ill children, so if you have not met Rosie, you're lucky.
It's a really good thing.
It's a
right? You
really
don't
good thing
really-
not to meet Rosie, but I'm happy to introduce you to her.
Yeah.
And you are live fed connected with Boston Children's ICU department.
Mm-hmm.
And what that is it has eyes and ears on your child. So they know they're coming up there. They know what meds to have on board. They assess, and they're waiting for you. And as a parent, that is so reassuring. It's unbelievable. And we're so fortunate to have this at St. Luke's. And she's just great. I mean, it really is great to have all the equipment and the needs that we have right here in our community.
Mm-hmm.
Within usually 10 minutes of whatever town you're in.
Yep.
It's awesome.
That's great.
So let's recap a little bit about kind of the events throughout the year. So there's the teddy bear.
The teddy bear we'll do once again. We
Once
start that right around Christmas time because
Okay.
I feel like we definitely get a lot of
Better.
kids around the
Yeah.
holidays.
Yeah.
So again, last year we raised about 1,000
And
teddy
peop-
bears.
okay.
I drop off every month. I drop off teddy bears to Kara. I actually buy mine at Kohl's because Kohl's Cares gives they're $5 and they're very, very cute. And that money goes right back to Boston Children's.
Oh, great.
So I'm
Okay.
double
Double
folding.
dipping. Good.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's phenomenal. So I do a standard online order with them, and I go in and pick them up and drop them off.
Okay.
In April, we will once again run
Start
the
the
Food for Tots program
okay.
again, and that runs till November.
Okay.
So people should tune into Fun 107 for
Fun
that.
107 on
Okay,
Monday the
morning.
10th.
Okay.
Yeah, because
Good.
we'll announce we have great restaurants, you guys. Like, I'm super excited. We also get people to do match donors. So every month we've had a match. This month we're so fortunate. People are like coming to us, and we have 2 matches.
Wow.
So already we're going into the event $5,000, and we haven't even picked up a fork.
Haven't even
Wow.
started.
So it's great. And then our event September 22nd.
Okay. And that's southcoast.org
Slash.
Fearon celebration, and we'll put up a link for that as well.
Thank you.
So just thank you so much for everything you've done for the community, for the pediatric community. Thank you, Kara, for being the person in the hospital that kind of makes it, a little bit softer and nicer and more kid-friendly there. I know that we, kind of tell, all of our patients who have children that the first stop should be with us, of
Yes,
course.
absolutely.
So, yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Did we miss anything? Is there anything
Yeah,
else that, in
anything?
terms of all
I
the
don't
great
think
work
so.
you guys have accomplished and the teams that you work with?
I mean, really, the community has been outstanding. I can't say enough about Kara.
I can't say enough about you.
We're so lucky to have her.
Yeah.
I think we have outstanding physicians at Boston Children's as well as
staff.
Southcoast. I think
Yeah.
Our
we're a
nurses.
win-win.
Yeah.
And we're only growing. Our numbers are growing, hence the more teddy bears needed. I mean, we are really knocking it out of the park. And
It's awesome.
I think we're going to do great things.
Yeah, I can't wait for the event. It was awesome. Last year was my first time. I'm a little bit excited for the black tie. Just
Black tie
channel my
is
inner
very
James
fun.
Bond.
It's
I'm not
like,
going to
oh my
lie.
God.
And
It's the prom for adults.
yeah, and for to support a really great cause. And the Bay Club does such a beautiful job.
They do, and we have
They do.
amazing sponsors. We have, I mean, I get calls daily now of people wanting to write me checks. Like, that doesn't happen. That's the community that we live in. I got 2 today of
great.
major donors.
Yeah. So, well, thank you very much. You can go on our southcoast.org website to find out more information. For people who are listening tonight, just please, spread the word if people don't know in terms of the great pediatric care that our South Coast emergency departments deliver in collaboration with Boston Children's Physicians, because it's a great resource. And thank you very much for taking a Wednesday night out of your time to come and for all the work that you do for our community.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Hannah, anything in the queue?
No, we're all caught up.
Awesome. Thank you very much for everyone who tuned in tonight. As always, stay healthy, South Coast.
I became a fisherman. I used to scuba dive for quahogs, and that was heavy work. When you're self-employed, you gotta keep going. I kept hurting my back. Then I found out I have degenerative disc disease. I deteriorated to the point that I couldn't stand up. The pain was just so severe. It affected me emotionally, psychologically, and physically. I had probably 12 surgeries, and I wanted to give up. The pain was just so bad. When there's no relief in sight, what else do you have? My general physician, I went to him. I told him I wanted to go to Boston, and he said to me, before you go to Boston, I know a guy at Southcoast Health. So we met with the neurosurgeon at Southcoast Health, and he told me what he was going to do. That's when I started to get happy. The pain had subsided. I wake up happy. I go to bed happy. I can stand up. I saw my surgeon 6 weeks ago. He says, Bruce, you're doing well. And I said to him, you saved my life. And without you, I don't know what I would have done or where I would be today. Yeah, there's a lot of tears, even on his part. I can't tell you how much of a difference it's made in my life. It's totally different. Now, bring it on. Life is good.